brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Suds, Suds, Suds. It's time for more Suds.
It's that time.
With lube.
See how he slipped it right in there.
Hi, guys.
And we're off script in 3, 2.
And off the air.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Fearless friends out there. This is yet again another Suds segment where good beer meets really bad radio and really strange co-host. I'm your hostess with the mostest, good old gal, Julieanna.
Strange one, right?
Strange one to the right of you.
Thank goodness, yes.
Yeah, okay. And with me today are my favorite friends. Good old boy Dave.
Hey, girlfriend.
Hey, boyfriend. Good old boy Mike.
Dave, please stop holding my hand now.
I didn't think that was your hand.
You're still lube on it, man.
And good old boy Kendall.
Right. So
Yeah, I would say it's a pleasure to be here, but I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. I agree.
Yeah.
Kendall
yeah.
Always have an exit strategy.
Kendall is slowly edging away from Mike.
And the mic. Kendall and his wife June have a really amazing blog, and he'll tell us all about it later in the show. Well, guys, it's that time of year. Can you believe that 2016 is like pretty much done?
Yep, I'm glad.
I don't remember any of it. Which means it was a good year.
Well,
It was a good year. It was a great year.
Yeah.
It was a great year for the radio show, definitely.
Yay.
Great year and a great beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we had some amazing and some not so amazing beer.
Sure.
But
Yeah. There's winners and losers.
Overall it was pretty good.
Dave is a loser.
Wow.
Have you seen his shirt? I mean, come on. Yeah. Okay. We're only going to focus on the good stuff today, though, okay? Good vibes, good things.
So no discussion to Dave. Wow.
No one insults the green bastard.
Yeah. Okay. Before we go any further, though, I want each of you to be thinking about something for the end of the show. Okay? Maybe? Yes? This is like your little project
Thinking is not really our strong point.
Dave's
but
actually thinking could have come any sooner.
I know. Okay, but no, seriously. I want you guys to like think about a new beer's resolution. Okay? For next year.
With or without lube.
With.
Okay, good.
Mike's really hung up on this lube thing. And it's weird
Yeah,
because he
'cause
keeps fidgeting in his chair.
It's a slippery slope.
It's like, bum, bum, bum.
Yep. And off we are.
Got to buzz you on that one, Kendall. It was good, but
Wow.
Okay. All right. First, let's talk about some trends, okay? What are some things that stuck out to you guys this year? You know, caught you by surprise, maybe?
I know that Mike fell in love with the infinite varieties of Goza.
You know, so that was one of the things that seeing a style that had not been, in the U.S. market, really come around and really seeing how, the brewers began to play around, with the wide variety of things with, that base product. I lost count at the number of fruits that were infused with Goza. I mean, it was like 14, 15. I mean, it was crazy.
And vegetables.
And,
I mean, the vegetables and the lube.
The thing that shocked me was I just didn't expect people to drift from the base, style, that fast.
This is America, Mike.
Well, yeah, I mean, how many blood orange gozas can you possibly make? Do we really need like 15, different versions
Yes,
of that?
I think so.
Yes, we do. This is America. We need blood orange. We need dragon fruit. We
Kumquat.
need blueberry, raspberry, snozberry,
Buddha hand.
gooseberry.
So I think that maybe it's just the frame of
kumquat,
reference that I was looking at that and going, you know what?
rutabaga.
I like the base
Pluot.
beer. Yes, we need more Pluot beer. I like the base, that we had on the original Goza show. I just did not see the vast, variety that would actually move through and people playing with that style and almost stretching it, beyond what it was originally intended to be. I really felt like people were always trying to compete with something that was going to rail up against the sourness and the saltiness, in that beer, and really finding a fruit that was going to.
It's almost like they're trying to turn every style of beer into a radler or something. Almost like something that anybody can drink. And you don't always need to do that. I don't think.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point with the fruit. Everybody. And we've seen this with other styles too. It's like, let's just fruit the heck out of everything.
Wheat beers and Berliner. I think they started with the Berliners, and then that fed over to the Gozas. But also,
well, even IPAs. I mean, how many fruited IPAs are out there now?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that really caught my attention was, again, this really exponential lift on the level of quality. Kind of across the board, and it wasn't just one style of beer, but I think what I was really seeing in a lot of parts of the U.S. market, again, was a lot of people that were willing to dump beer that frankly was not making, the cut, or pulling things off the market really quick and saying, I think that this is not where we really wanted to go with this. And instead of just throwing it on the shelf and saying, we made 40 barrels of it, we're gonna can it and keg it and call it a day.
I think part of that is related to how many new breweries are opening up and how compressed or crowded the markets are getting. So you have to bring your A game for every beer, every time, and you get your name connected to a stinky, infected beer. And people aren't going to come back. There's way too many choices.
There's a good transition point. So what was the thing that happened that cost $107 billion this year? It was the merger of AB InBev with SAB Miller Coors.
I mean,
was that the price tag? Wow.
I thought it was going to be something the government did. I don't know.
I never thought that a beer brand would be worth that amount of money on the market, because AB InBev brings in about $45 billion a year. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, for beer,
Yeah.
Well, how much did that company pay for Ballast Point?
$1 billion.
That was
crazy.
$1 billion.
Yeah, that was nuts. What
billion
Constellation
with
did.
a B.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about
Of course, they did also have a homebrew store connected to it, so that probably was about
that
half
was a
of it.
huge revenue factor.
Yeah, I'm
right
sure
there.
that was about half of it.
Well, but not only, speaking. I can learn to
Need
speak.
lube?
I might. The wealth of gypsy brewers that is out there now, I mean, that's become a thing. Just like the can has really become the thing this year.
The crowler.
Well, and
the crowler, yeah.
We've also seen transition of some really tried and true gypsy brewers that are actually moving on to a lot more of their own equipment this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
McKellar is moving to a semi-gypsy, situation. They're brewing a lot more stuff on one set of equipment, but they're still kind of moving around.
Evil Twin, didn't they buy one or?
I think they're just going to stay on the Westbrook system, so I don't think they were gypsy brewing that much.
One of the brews we tried, a small gypsy brewer out of Chicago area, Transient, built their own brewery over in Michigan.
Shoot, did a good job of it too.
Great beers.
Who was the group out of Jersey that they went from gypsy to buying their own stuff? I'll think of it in a minute. But
Is Almanac? Did they do Gypsy?
No, I don't.
I thought they did.
I don't think that was one.
No.
I think Almanac does do Gypsy, but they have not
Yeah.
gone through that transition.
No.
I'll think of who it was in just a minute. But I think that's an interesting transition point that people make a recurring commitment into Gypsy brewing and then moving on to their own system. So,
Well, probably too, as other breweries go out of business, just you start a brewery and you find out you can't make it, and then you kind of have to go.
Yeah.
And somebody that opens the door for someone else.
Okay. Dave, quickly, you want to do the ratings?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. So, we're not really drinking anymore. We are discussing a lot of our favorites. Well, we're drinking beer, but not officially. But we are going to
I'm
rate.
unofficially drinking beer.
We are going to rate and discuss these beers with our Suds ratings and signature belching sounds. Number 1. That sucks. Give me anything but a bud. Number 2. Was that a belch? Number 3. Ah, what a relief. 4. A body should really not make that sound. And number 5, listen to good old boy Mike. What a hang time.
We'll be back in just a minute with our top picks for the year.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf. Iridescent dews reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love.
That's why it didn't come to me.
Welcome back, everyone.
With lube.
With lube. We are in the midst of our year-end wrap-up, and we're going to talk about what really captured our attention this year.
Other than lube, apparently.
Yes, other than that. Good old boy Dave, what are your top picks for the year?
Well, so I wanted to talk about some of the episodes we've done and the clever titles. And,
I'm laughing because if you do the creative process for picking our episode titles, it's my left elbow and then my right elbow. And then usually there's like some point of grand epiphany that hits us. I don't know, pick one.
whatever line makes Mike fall out of his chair.
That's
during
true.
the show.
Yeah. I find myself laughing at myself in post-production.
So, one of the first ones we did this year was called The Strangest Thing I Ever Licked. How about something big from something small? That just sounds dirty, doesn't it? Folks?
Yeah, well, that was about a little micro breweries that have a small distribution. Yeah,
But a great beer.
yeah, a lot of great beer on that show.
Sour beer dedication to Chad.
Oh,
Who could ever
yes.
forget that one?
I loved Sparky's rendition of Casey Kasem
The
talking
ghost
in that
of
voice.
Casey Kasem.
Dear Chad, with our dedication, with all my love.
Hey, we love your cans.
Yep. Very popular episode for some reason.
Go figure.
Probably some misleading advertisement was
Probably.
associated.
Wow. Man, that was some picture.
That was, yeah.
How about clothing optional beer?
I'm seeing a theme all of a sudden.
Yes.
Yeah.
With lube.
Yeah. We did bring in the Scottish weed. I think that had something to do with Gruit.
Yes, we ventured off and did a alternative hops alternative show, and some interesting feedback. From that show, a lot of people were very grateful that we exposed them to things that were outside, the base of, products they enjoyed, as well as, bringing new products to the market that would help people kind of explore some things outside of just, what do hops, bring to the
For
table.
the hop sensitive.
Yeah.
Speaking of exposing things, my rod is bent.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
It was. Now, that was Dave asking this question. He was reacting the whole time during this episode and going, I do think that would bend my rod. So, it just...
Man's got to know himself.
it was really funny. I was laughing in the whole time in post-production for that.
Somehow we managed to turn Oktoberfest into something about me wearing a dress and my bow is in the back.
Yeah.
A trendle, actually.
32 beers on that show. It was crazy.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
No longer banned in Colorado.
Great show. Really enjoyed that one. A lot of great beer, on that show. It was good. It was good to be back at GABF. So
It was fantastic to go for my first time.
Our first full-on tour of New England was called My Dreidel is Trimmed.
Yep. So definitely the belle of the ball, I think, for hitting a lot of the scene this year was the New England style IPA, and I thought we did a good job of covering it in a fairly balanced way, this year. So yeah, really.
Wow,
great.
we did something balanced. That's interesting.
Well, we did it with lube. So.
Then we had Festivus for the rest of us.
Yes, great show. Talking about a lot of great beer festivals, that we covered this year, and really talking about all of a wide variety of the products, we saw across all those.
Somehow we stumbled our way back up to New England for Trillium in Tom Brady Instant Hummer.
Tom Brady. I touch myself. Yeah. Ma, where's my hoodie?
So those were some of the highlights of 2016,
So,
if you call them highlights.
I am so glad that nobody has recognized me in the Boston area. So I got to tell you, I actually went back. I was in town visiting some relatives. We went to Regina's Pizza. Been there forever. And I was so afraid someone was going to recognize me eating there and going,
And beat
you know
you
what?
to death.
My ma talks just like that. And you insulted her for asking the way that you were talking about the Boston accent here. So you just need to go outside. You're not getting any Regina's Pizza. Get out.
I think you
was
were
just waiting.
I think
for
you were
somebody to
really
go
afraid of running into Tom Brady.
No, I wasn't. For him to look at me and go, instant Hummer? Really? Like now? So, have you met Giselle? So, yeah, that was, it was, I have to say, it was interesting, some of the feedback and the comments that were rolling through that. And a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, you sound just like my cousin. I'm like, I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
He's special.
Very special.
Yeah. Let's get to beer.
Yeah.
All right.
So, your beer.
So I will go all the way back to the summer. On our way back from BBC 2016, the Beer Bloggers Conference, Julie and I stopped in Gainesville, Florida. Why, I don't know, but actually we were very
there was
fortunate.
A reason.
It turned out very fortunate. We went to a place called First Magnitude. It's a very new brewery down there in Gainesville. They make a ton of phenomenal beers. I did not have a single bad beer there, but the one that stood out the most was an English mild, which anyone who
Dun, dun, dun. Shocker.
has tried one or tried to brew one knows is an extremely difficult style of beer to make, just because it's very low gravity. It's a very simple malt bill, very low hopped. So any mistakes you make jump out and are very difficult to hide. Theirs was called Drift, and it is probably one of the best English milds I've ever had. I've had quite a few, and this one was top notch all the way. I gave it a Suds rating of 5. And I know the reason I also know it was good is because I let Mike try it and he liked it, and Mikey doesn't like anything. So,
You like some things.
Well, it's very easy to make a poor English mild, and always appreciate when someone does that really well. So, with lube.
Of course.
I don't know how to follow that.
What's number 2, Dave?
It'll come to you.
Yeah. Number 2 is poop, Kendall. Oh, I'm sorry. What is my second beer? So,
that is E to the Z who tweeted it disgusting.
Yeah, it is.
So the second beer I want to talk about is that one that actually Kendall brought to our I Like Your Cans episode. It was not in a can, which
It was a bottle beer.
totally broke the rules of the show. But you know what? It was so darn good. I'm just going to let it pass. It was called Nice Melons from Rivertown Brewing in Cincinnati, Ohio. One of the big things this year, I think, were cucumber beers and watermelon beers.
We had a bunch.
Yeah. This was definitely one of the best ones. It accentuated the sweetness, and a little bit of the overall flavor of watermelons. I thought it was a true, it really enhanced the flavor of the watermelons and embraced it. And, again, I thought this beer was a Suds of 5.
And
the third beer, my dear, was so at GBF, GABF. Julie and I went to all of the state. What do you call those?
The guilds.
There you go, guilds like fish, with a D. But so we went to all the state guilds, and in the Washington State Guild, they had a peppercorn saison that was phenomenal. It great flavor. It really gave you all the essence of peppercorns, but there was no heat. It was not like a chili beer where you're, got a big piece of jalapeno or something in there and it blows your palate out. This was just the flavor of peppercorn, and it really was a great beer. Very nice and savory flavor. Would love to pair it with some food at some point, but unfortunately they wouldn't let me bring a plate over to their stand and hang out. So anyways, I gave that one also a Suds of 5.
Yay.
Yay.
Good old boy Mike. What are your top picks?
Well, really exciting year for beer. It was very interesting going back to my beer diary on Untapped, and
Mike keeps a diary.
well, it's about the only thing I can keep anything straight sometimes. A lot of really great stuff. I was looking back even at a lot of my ratings, and I noticed that I wasn't really tagging a whole lot of things, with a 5 this year. There's a lot of great beer, but as far as really finding, some exceptional standouts, they seem to be a bit of hit or miss this year, but there definitely were some, and I want to talk about those. Top of my list is Trillium Brewing, out of Boston, Massachusetts, and Camden. Yeah. So, I really had an opportunity to taste a lot of great products in the Northeast this year, and so I would find myself with a wide variety of a lot of the Northeast, style IPAs kind of all at once. And I had a few just kind of impromptu little taste-offs, where I would sit down like with 4 or 5 of them all at once. And this particular version of Trillium really moved heads and tails above everybody else. And when I look at the things I was tasting alongside it, like, Alchemist, Heady Topper, or Focal Banger, or, Treehouse, Julius, or, even the, Doppelbanger, from, Treehouse as well. And just a lot of, things from Trillium. I was really surprised as something emerged to me as a clear winner. I really love, Congress Street, IPA. It is their flagship, APA. At Trillium, and I just was really blown away with that every time I had it, and it was unfortunate that I wasn't able to catch more of it. So there are a lot of that Street Series has a lot of variety of hops that they move through, as well as a lot of other things. We talked an awful lot about the variety of things on the Trillium show. So if you want to hear all about Trillium, go back and listen to that show. But Congress Street was something we didn't have on that particular program, and it was really unfortunate just based on availability and when they make those batches that we didn't. In fact, here in the studio today, we actually have the Melcher. See, I can say it right. It's
awesome.
The Melcher Street from Trillium, just as a reminder of just how good some of these can be. The unique difference about this Congress Street is it's a Galaxy hop, but it's an Australian variety of the Galaxy hop. And I think a lot of brewers are playing around with sourcing hops outside the U.S. Mainly the New Zealand hops are the things that a lot of people have been playing around with here in the U.S. And this is one of the few that I know that have really been using the Australian variety of the Galaxy hops. And I really love this. This is a solid 5 all the way for me. So the next product I want to mention was something I had in a bottle when I was in the Virginia Beach area, and I picked up a bottle of Alvinne, and I had never seen this particular one before. This is and I'm going to mispronounce this. I think it's Bolleville, and it's in a Calvados barrel, which is it's like a Calvados is an apple, right? Barrel, and it's usually a little bit of a sweeter variety. Calvados is generally a liqueur that a lot of people enjoy. So this was in an oak aged Calvados barrel. I just remember sitting there and enjoying pretty much the whole bottle myself. I think I shared it with one other person that was sitting with me at the time for the tasting, and man, I just hunted all over the place to find more of that, and that really turned into practically the unobtainium. I mean, it was just, I know some more of it exists, but just not in that particular market that I was looking around for. Really great product, a solid 5 all the way as well for that. A lot of great choices to hit the top 3, and I didn't want to make this a love fest for all things hops, which would have been very easy to do because there were so many great beers, and I talked a little bit about sitting down and having some really great, head-to-head, conversations about a lot of hops. We had an impromptu tasting with Alchemist, Bearded Iris Homestyle, and what was the third one that?
We had something from Treehouse.
Okay, yeah, we had one of the ones from Treehouse. I think haze, or very hazy. I think it was
very hazy.
Yeah, and
my grandma drank all my pot.
Yeah, I think she would have still enjoyed that flight. I was still blown away with the Bearded Iris Homestyle out of that flight. Almost put it on this list, but it's just it's a distribution thing, and I can't wait for them to get out of Tennessee. I think it'll be a solid choice, but I went with something I know people can find in a much wider distribution. It was at the Shelton Brothers Festival from Jay Wakefield. It was their Berlinerweiss called Miami Madness. And I really have to give it up to something that, in the middle of a festival setting, to capture our attention and have us go back to something time and time and time again, when you're in a room with 200 or 300 beers, and for us to even take the time to have something even twice, let alone 3 times, you're doing something right. This is the first time I'd actually had dragon fruit laced on a Berlinerweiss, and I was really impressed with just how soft it was and how well balanced, and it was just a really well made beer. And a lot of you will go, well, Berlinerweiss, that's like, isn't that a chick beer? Or, that's not what a lot of people, really want. I have to say, if you have the opportunity to pick a bottle of this up or catch a growler or anything from them, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And I think this will take your concept of a Berlinerweiss to a new all-time high. I have to give this up a solid 5 again as well. So, really great beer.
Miami Madness.
Yeah, so really tough to come up with just 3 because there were some really great choices.
Cool. Go to like Kendall. What are your top picks?
Had so many good beers this year. You know, at GABF, Shelton Brothers, Denver Rare Beer, plus the Beer Bloggers Conference and a bunch of other festivals all over the Southeast. It's hard to really pick out a few, but a couple that really stand out really just because they were special kind of events for me as well. From a little brewery in Pilsen, Czech Republic, we got to try Pilsner Urquell, but before you go, Pilsner Urquell made the top of your list. This was Pilsner Urquell flown in from Pilsen 4 days earlier. They put a keg on a plane of unfiltered, unpasteurized Pilsner Urquell. And I not only had this once, but twice. First in July down in Florida at Beer Bloggers, and then I got to have it again. We had a keg at the 12 South Winter Warmer here in Nashville. It is so rich, so good. It doesn't taste anything like the Pilsner Urquell we get in a can or a bottle here. It was fantastic. If you ever get a chance, put this beer on your bucket list. You have to try it. It is a solid 5.
Well, Kendall, hold that thought, and we'll be back in just a minute with more of his picks.
Not just the destination, but baby, the whole elation of riding down this lover's avenue. As slow as a willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind wind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right, keep your eyes on the road, my darling, wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows, my hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to our year-end review of the best beers of 2016. Good old boy Kendall was discussing his, and let's pick it back up with him.
Yeah, I just left off with that unfiltered, unpasteurized Pilsner Urquell. Wow, what a beer. But let's go a more hoppier direction. My second beer was Focal Banger from the Alchemist in Stowe, Vermont.
Woohoo!
You know, I love this beer. I got to try it actually on tap, fresh, out at the brewery. It was a wonderful trip up to Vermont. This might be sacrilegious, but I actually think Focal Banger is better than Huddy Topper. It's a fantastic beer. I brought back 2 cases in my suitcase, and
Nice.
I gave a few to friends, but I pretty much was selfish and drank every bit of it. It was a fantastic beer, and I'm already trying to figure out how to get back to Vermont because I'm out of it, and I need to make a trip up there. So that's a great beer. Find it if you can. It's a 5.
It's a 5.
It's a 5.
And my last beer, I also found when I was up in Vermont, it's actually just a few miles down the road from the Alchemist, and that's the Von Trapp family brewery. So the Von Trapps are from the Sound of Music. You're probably familiar with that story.
A dear, a female.
Just like that. So, I was in a great little hotel in Montpelier, and I went to a gas station next door and picked up a 4-pack of their Helles. The Golden Helles is just a great beer, and I love good German lagers. And I got to try everything they made at GABF. So, they had a Pilsner, a Dunkel, the Helles, an Oktoberfest, and a Vienna Lager. So I really can't pick one beer. I just want to give a shout-out to Von Trapp as my number 3. And really across the board, they are a strong 4 all the way on everything they're making.
I agree.
Really cool. Okay, now we're going to get to mine.
And the top 27 beers of 2016.
No, I'm just going to go with 3-ish.
Oh, jeez.
Whatever.
It's always the ish that gets you.
Okay.
See, I got an 8, right?
Yeah.
It is a 1-hour show.
Whatever. The first one I want to talk about is Goo Gish, otherwise now known as Guru Gish. It's made by Mantra Artisan Ales. And in a previous episode, we had a nice little discussion about this beer. It was originally brewed for a really great cause on a really great person. But it is exactly what it sounds. It tastes just like a Goo Goo cluster in the best possible way. And it really blew me away because all of the flavors come out and they're all well balanced, but you get everything. And it's a really cool, fantastic beer. And it was, done for somebody special and has now become a big part of Mantra. And I gave that a 5. The second one that I wanted to talk about is from Funky Buddha. I love them so much. And at GABF, we were able to have this beer called No Crust. And it tastes just like the best peanut butter and jelly beer
sandwich
thing ever.
It was great.
It was very decadent. And I know these are 2 dessert type beers, but they were just so great for what they were. And in a world of hoppy beers, which we've had a ton of hoppy beers this year, it was just really nice to have something different. Again, I gave it a 5. The next one I wanted to talk about is from American Solera in Oklahoma and Tulsa, to be exact. And I was able to try them for the first time at Shelton Brothers Festival and was really sort of blown away at how, for lack of a better word, how organic their beers were. And in particular, the Money Blend, I thought was just a very delicately beautiful farmhouse. It was aged for 18 months in oak, and it was a nice blend of oak and funkiness and lemon, and it was just exactly what I was looking for that day, and I kept going back and back for more. It was just so good, and since then I've had a few more bottles of American Solera, and I've just been really blown away by what they're doing out there. So, again, a 5.
Wow.
And I'm just going to sneak in one more. It's from La Cumbre from New Mexico, and it's their Elevation IPA. And I really liked all of their stuff, but the IPA just was so bloody good.
Well, I could have brought that today.
And yay, I love you guys down there. It's so good, and that's a 5. And I'm done.
I totally agree with you. If you remember our GABF show, I raved about everything those guys were making. I love those guys.
I think you had a little corner of the booth that was Kendall's corner.
Kendall became Norm at the La Cumbre booth.
Yeah, they recognized me after a while.
Okay, so we've done talking about our favorite beers. So now let's go into nominating our beer bars and tap rooms for our Sips, Suds, and Smokes Good Belching Zone. We list them on our Facebook page and let you, our listeners, vote for your favorite. Here are a few of our past winners. In 2012, it was Craft Brewed in Nashville.
Still rocking it.
Yeah. They are. 2013, Blue Monk in Buffalo.
Those muscles still, amazing.
Okay. 2014, the McKellar Bar in San Francisco.
Very difficult choices in the San Francisco market.
Flux capacitor.
I just can't say I sat there. I could have sat there for 3 days, and it was so an amazing place.
And last year was the Holy Grail from Louisville.
Yep. So, awesome some really great choices that we had from the past. So we're changing up our good belching zone process a little bit. In the past, what we've done is we've allowed the listeners to kind of nominate some stuff and then vote, for those. We've decided not to make it a contest, so we're just going to tell you what are some of the short list of some of our favorites, and want to make sure you swing by and get to some of those. Want to try to get some signage out, to some of these places as well, so they're really great places. But those are all really solid to start with. So the good belching zones we're going to throw up for 2016. That doesn't sound right. That we're going to throw up. That we're
throw out there to the universe.
If you have a really good time there, you might.
You might throw up.
Rewind. Say that again, Mike. Our good belching zones for 2016 are going to be the following three places: Three Penny Tap House out of Montpelier in Vermont.
Absolutely, I love that place.
Kendall and I both went there this year. Separate visits, but equally important. We both agree that our favorite part of the entire place is a sign that's up on the wall that says,
"Oh, you should ask me before because I can't remember now."
We will serve no InBev products in this place.
Yeah, that's right. I've got a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah, I just thought that was a riot. I thought that was hilarious. But really great stuff, both sourced locally as well as some things they've brought into that market.
And the food is amazing, too.
Yeah. So
eat while you're there.
Second place is going to be the Birch in Norfolk, Virginia. Really fabulous place in downtown Norfolk. Who's chugging? I believe that would be good old gal Julieanna. So, yeah.
We're going to have to watch her put down a beer.
So, what, a PBR? I think we're going to have her chug.
That's not punishment, man. I'll do that right now.
Okay, all right. We'll pick out something.
Find an old style or something.
Anyway, back to the good belching zone list. The Birch in Norfolk, Virginia. Really fabulous place. This was some place that I got to visit quite often this particular year. I was really impressed just across the board. They had so many amazing things there at the Birch. I love their tap rotation. I love the fact that they had about 5 to 6 dedicated cider taps.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't just they were like token ciders that they had on tap there. They were some really great choices. I had a lot of great beer sessions at the Birch, a lot of great beer. And I love they actually have a cabinet where it's a cellar that they allow some small group of people to come in and age things and then gather there periodically. And they had some amazing stuff.
That's awesome.
In that cellar as well. And a lot of other great cellar products that are available there at the Birch. Well, the last one I'm going to add to this list is we're going to swing back to the West Coast and go to the other side of the bay. We talked about the McKellar Bar out of San Francisco. If you go to the other side of the bay in Oakland, you're going to run into Beer Revolution. So the best way I can explain walking into Beer Revolution is you walk in and go, I'm lost. Because it just... Let's just say the decor in Beer Revolution is, it looks like a bomb went off in a dive bar about 20 years ago.
And that kind of place.
It's one of these places that I think you can actually hear Jerry Garcia still singing, walking through the bar. So it's, they have, at least when I was there, they had a row of coolers all along the back wall where they had a bunch of really great bottle products. And that they actually have a permit that you can buy and carry, out of Beer Revolution, which is really nice. But definitely the tap list is just amazing. It's a little difficult to navigate at times because there's a lot of things that rotate through there really fast. I probably saw no less than 6 kegs kick, just probably maybe the hour and a half that I was there. And just, amazing stuff from the who's who of brewers, both on the West Coast as well as, a lot of things that were outside of that geography as well. So, 3 really solid, good belching zones, for sure. Is there anything else that you guys thought of you wanted to put on the
great beer bar, Belgian beer bar in Greenville, South Carolina called the Trapp Door with some fantastic Belgian food. We spent a great evening there that we stopped by for appetizers and beer and ended up being there for 5 hours. So it was that kind of place. Cool. Check it out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We hit a really good place in Cheyenne, Wyoming called Accomplice Beer Company. Great tap system, great food.
Oh, that was the place of the automatic taps.
Yeah, auto taps, and the staff extremely knowledgeable and very accommodating. Very cool.
Yep.
Well, we have a lot of great stuff coming up for Season 5 here on Sips, Suds, and Smokes, and really fabulous schedule that's ahead of us. Definitely for Suds segments as well as for our other segments on Sips, Suds, and Smokes as well. We're going to talk about a lot more breweries. We have a ton of brewery takeover shows that are ahead. Dave, Julieanna, what are some of the short lists of those that you guys have staged?
We're going to do Ardent Brewing out of Virginia. We're going to take a beer trip to Buffalo, New York.
We're going to do Green Bench 2 in the future. Yeah. And
yep, there's several others. I know we have staged. We have the before and after show is what we're going to do for Goose Island. So we have a set of beers that were made before the buyout for InBev, and then we have another set that were made after it. So it's a before and after show.
We're going to talk about the difference between brewing and blending.
Yep.
The different skill sets involved. Showcase some beers around that.
Funkworks is another brewery show that we have lined up. Actually, it's a special lineup where they've done single hop varieties for the Funkworks lineup. And a show that I'm looking forward to doing is the Casey Brewing Show.
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Is really going to be fantastic to get some of those beers. So a lot of really great lineup that we have. Be sure and catch more of our episodes for Season 5. And our back catalog is fairly timeless. You can go back and enjoy any of the 200-plus episodes that we have in our back catalog as well. So, if you want to get to our resolution, don't you?
I do. But for those of you that like Mead, have no fear. We got you covered. We're going to be doing a couple of Mead episodes next year as well. But yeah, since you mentioned it, and thank you for mentioning it, give me some resolutions, some beer resolutions for next year. Anybody?
My new beer's resolution for 2017 is to drink many more awesome beers with you awesome people and be even funnier than I was in 2016.
Wow. That's not a stretch.
I'm glad you're setting the bar so low.
Wow.
Wow. You know what? If I had a button to push, I'd push the ejector seat button for you, buddy.
Well, that was pretty close to what I was thinking. I was thinking, I just want to have more great beer with great friends with Dave and more lube. So,
wow. Cut.
Wow.
One of my goals is to get me and good old gal June doing a little more on the beer blog than we did. 2016 was a slow year for us. And I also have the personal goal of shotgunning a crowler in 2017.
wow.
We're going to get video.
Yeah, we're going to do that early in the year, too.
Wear a raincoat.
And lube.
How about you?
I want to get back to BJCP guidelines, and I want to go and seek out... No. Stop. No, I want to go to the archaic stuff. Stuff that's like kind of harder to find, and like do some more research on like weird, strange German beers, and just kind of get back to some of the old school beers that you just don't see that much anymore.
You just want to say Wursteiner again.
I do. Yep. Dave? Oh, we already did you.
Mine, yeah.
All right, fine. I guess we're done. Okay.
Only keep one goal a year.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and you can catch all of our episodes online, as well as on SoundCloud and TuneIn and Stitcher, YouTube, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. iTunes and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sips, Suds, Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store. And be sure to subscribe, and show will always be on your phone.
We love your feedback, and you can reach us online at info@sipsudsmokes.com.
Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every day at Sip Suds Smoke. And our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll also be able to interact with the thousands of other fans on those social media platforms.
Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode and be gentle if you're listening to us online.
And use lube. Good old boy Kendall, tell us about your blog.
My wife and I blog about the good news of good beer at beermakes3.com, also on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Well, I want to thank all of our hosts. Good old boy Dave.
Man, 2016's been awesome, except for all the lube talk. So I hope 2017's a little bit drier, a little bit tighter.
Good old boy Mike.
You just can't write this stuff. It would be rejected so hard and fast. You know, I'm thinking that I really should come up with my top 3 flavors of lube, for at least for next year as divine guidance. I'm thinking like cherry lime, a little bit of vanilla.
Dragon fruit.
That'll work. Anyway, hey, this is Good Boy Mike. Come back, join us once again, and keep on sipping.
And good old boy Kendall.
It's always a pleasure to be here, y'all. Cheers.
Thanks everyone for listening, and keep on chuggling.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sip, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.